Now our story continues. The lobby of the Brown Palace Hotel was deserted at this time of day except for a lone woman. She was seated in one of the comfortable lounging chairs before the large window that looked out on Wakefield's business district. Passers-by could have seen that she was smartly dressed, distinguished, and handsome, befitting her role as the wife of Ben Calvert, one of the little town's richest men. Some might have guessed that she was in her early 40s, but none would have suspected that her placid face disguised thoughts such as were Jessie Calvert's at this moment.
It seemed a wise thing to do at the time. Telling David Bowman that I felt Ben should leave Kit some of his money. If something had happened to Ben, David's knowing would have been very valuable to Brett and me. It would turn any suspicion away from us. But I didn't count on Ben finding out about it. Now I feel like a fool. I've got to prevent Ben from changing his will. Prevent him from leaving part of his fortune to Kit. But how? What can I do? I wonder if he really intends to change his will. Could he have said that just to test my reaction to the idea? Ben's always been inclined to suspect my motives. Heaven knows it'd be like him to test me. But I can't be sure. He might really intend to change his will, and I can't risk it. Brett would be livid.
Oh, hello, Jessie.
Oh.
Well, startled him a day.
Oh, yes, you did, Brett. You see, I was just this second thinking of you.
The guilty lover, Jessie? Well, I'm pleased and flattered. Where's Ben?
Oh, in the hotel barber shop. I'm waiting for him.
Well, in that case, I'll join you.
Brett, please, I wish you wouldn't. I don't want Ben to see us together.
Darling, you are jumpy this morning. There's no harm in our being seen together in a place like that.
Well, you can't realize how Ben's been lately. The other day when you stopped by the house, he was angry about it. Brett, something's happened. Ben's become jealous of me. Doesn't want me to have attention from anyone but himself.
Well, it's rather easy to understand Ben's attitude. Can't say I blame him. Just as long as he doesn't know that he has real cause for jealousy where you and I are concerned, there's no harm.
But I'm afraid, Brett. Suppose he should begin to suspect.
For a clever woman like you, Jessie, I'm sure you'll find ways to keep him reassured.
I'm not so positive.
Why, just look at the man, my dear. You have him eating right out of your hand. Take the business of the will. You certainly managed that expertly.
Yes, but I'm afraid I overplayed my hand a little.
What do you mean?
You remember that I spoke to David Bowman about Ben's will?
Yes, I think it was very shrewd of you. In case anyone might suspect that you'd manipulated Ben into leaving you everything, David could verify the fact that you'd tried to persuade Ben not to cut Kit off completely.
That's right. But neither of us anticipated that David might mention our conversation to Ben. It seems that he has.
Well, what harm is there in that?
But the point is that, out of regard for my wishes, Ben is considering changing his will.
What? How do you know?
Ben told me so last night.
Well, has he actually done anything about it?
No, at least not yet.
Yeah, but he did mention it. So, obviously he's thinking about it.
Well, yes, but...
Jessie, we have to do something to prevent that. We've got to do it immediately.
Wouldn't it be wiser to wait until we see whether Ben really intends to go through with it or not?
No. No, Jessie, all we've done is wait. Where's it gotten us? No, if Ben changes his will, it'll ruin everything we worked for. I've waited too long, worked too hard to give it up now. Either we get every dollar of Ben's or I'll call the whole thing off.
Oh, but Brett, darling,
and don't tell me again that you love me. Because either we do it my way or, as far as I'm concerned, the rest of your life will be as empty of love as it is now. In your fine big house with your tired old man.
Brett, be careful. Lily Devon just came into the lobby.
Well, think it over, Jessie. Get in touch with me later.
Oh, hello there, Miss Devon.
Good morning.
Well, good morning, beautiful.
Brett.
You want to join us?
The way you two are laughing, it's hard to resist. Such gaiety so early in the morning.
Well, Mrs. Calvert's a very witty person. Fine tonic for my drooping spirits.
You're looking very fresh and girlish this morning, Miss Devon. Oh, thank you. Although I feel far from fresh. I thought the stragglers would never leave the supper club last night.
Yes.
I can imagine that keeping up appearances must be very difficult for you. And speaking of keeping up appearances, I must see what's keeping Ben in the barber shop, if you'll excuse me. See you later, Brett. Mr. Vaughn.
Goodbye, Jessie.
Oh. I wonder what I did to deserve that.
No, Jessie didn't mean it the way it sounded.
Are you kidding? That little stab in the solar plexus would have floored a mule. And I'm sure the suave Mr. Cameron is much more sensitive than that.
Nice to see you, Lily. As a matter of fact, I'll confess it's what I was hoping for when I came in.
Oh? And you didn't know Mrs. Calvert was here?
Oh, sure. I saw it through the window. But I was coming in anyway. My apparent reason was to pick up a package of cigarettes, but my real reason was that I'd hoped I'd see you. And what are you doing tonight after the show?
Sorry. Not tonight, Bet.
Oh. Am I out of favor again?
And what makes you think you were ever in favor?
Oh, come now, Lily. Confess now you do find me rather interesting, don't you?
Well, I'll admit you're unique. At least in Wakefield.
And I'm eligible, which puts me out front.
You're quite sure of yourself, aren't you? Well, you aren't the only one who's eligible.
Well, perhaps not, but don't tell me you have another date.
Oh, would that be so unusual that it's startling?
Well, not so far as your desirability goes, but... Well, after all, who is there in this town, really?
Oh, Brett, don't tell me you're seriously interested in what I do or don't do.
Oh, not beautiful. I wasn't kind. You and I, well, we're more or less two of a kind.
Two of a kind?
Yes, both a little beyond the pale. We should be friends. Of course I'm interested in what you do.
Well, I'm not sure I believe you. Just on the off chance that you could be sincere, I'll tell you who my date is, if you want to know.
Good. I do.
All right. Randy Lane.
Randy Lane?
Well, why not?
Well, no reason except that... Well, I knew that you were friendly. You'd known his cousin Peggy for some time, but... Well, Randy has always had a reputation for doing all right by himself. I just never think of him as a ladies' man.
That is not by your standards.
Well, of course, he's good looking in a rough and tumble sort of way. I can see that you might find him quite attractive.
That's quite a concession to you, Brett.
Yes, now that I think of it, it's quite logical. Country boy, city girl. Wholesome He-Man type. Beautiful exotic dancer. Yes, very natural. So at last, Randy Lane has fallen, huh?
Oh, I'd hardly say he'd fallen.
Well, how often do you see him? Every day? Twice a day?
Oh, no, nothing like that. He picks me up occasionally. As a matter of fact, the last time I saw him was when I was walking home from your place.
Oh, yes, that's right. You did insist on walking home. Mm-hmm. Now, I wonder if I'm not beginning to understand the reason.
There was no reason except that I liked to walk, and I hated to make it necessary for the charming Mrs. Calvert to drive me. And, you and she haven't had a chance to talk alone.
No, you don't. Can't throw me off the scent that way. I suppose it was quite by accident that you ran into Randy.
Quite.
Did he know where you'd been?
Yes, I told him.
You told him you'd been with me? Well, I bet he didn't like that, did he?
No. Why?
Well, wouldn't you say that there was a very good indication that my earlier hunch was right? That our local hero was fallen?
I can't keep you from thinking anything you like, Brett.
And if I'm any judge, he means business. When a fellow like Randy Lane falls, that's it. He strikes me as strictly the one-woman type of man.
All of which goes to prove that the sophisticated Mr. Cameron can be oh so wrong.
You mean Randy has some other girl?
Yes, Brett. I can assure you that I'm very far from being the only girl in his life.
It's hard to believe. Mrs. Bedwell, my washwoman, she...
Bedwell?
Yeah. A little inconsistent, isn't it? Anyway, she brings me all the choice romantic morsels. If anyone knows of any new affairs of the heart, I can rely on Mrs. Bedwell to bring the news of them to me, post-haste.
Well, it just so happens that no one could know about Randy and this person.
Oh, nonsense. In a little town like this, someone would be sure to see them together.
But see, that's impossible. No one can see them together. Because Kit Calvert is in prison.
Kit Calvert and Randy Lane? Brett Cameron was about to point out that it was an impossible situation, but stopped when he saw that Lily Devon was grimly serious. He could sense that the subject was a painful one for Lily, but that was not what stopped him. Brett Cameron had had an idea. All of a sudden, he realized that here might be a new solution to what was beginning to be an old and nerve-wracking problem.